Welcome to Hadoken Debt Podcast, episode number 92. In today's episode, we're going to talk about houses and wealth creation. So specifically, we talk about how houses, if they make people money, if people make money off of houses anymore, you know, that's what we've heard our whole life is buy a house as soon as you can. And then in 30 to 40 years, you can sell it and you can make a lot of money and it'll help with retirement. And some people, their house is their retirement. So it's just weird because every time I think I get a small grasp on the economy, it changes. It's like technology. But we talk about that and just renting, and we get into more discussions on it. And then in our Nerd Talk, we talk about the Netflix original series Stranger Things, which was really strange. So here we go, episode number 92. Gonna talk about houses and wealth creation, and then Stranger Things. Yeah. So what's going on?
Bought a GoPro.
Yeah.
So things are about to get started.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You gonna be like cops, put on your dashboard?
Yeah. mounted on my bulletproof vest. Yeah. No, I'm gonna start recording more of my training sessions. So
nice.
I have used my phone in the past, but it sucks to have your phone sit there and record the whole time because I want to use my phone in between sessions. And then it's like drains the battery really quickly. And I have to reset it up every single time.
Yeah.
So, ordered a GoPro. I'm going to mount it wherever I'm going to do my training session.
Nice.
And then you can use your phone as a remote for it to turn it on and off. And so that's what I'll do is I'll pop it on and record everything and turn it off when I'm not working.
Yeah.
So,
are you gonna vlog?
No, I don't think YouTube channel is going to be the way I go. I don't have anything to sell for that.
Yeah.
I think it's just going to be using them for clips for Instagram and then embedding them in my blog. So
Kardashians don't have anything to sell. All they sell is arguing in their kitchen.
Well, I'm not exciting like the Kardashians are.
You're not as dramatic.
Yeah. So I love radio. If I'm going to be doing something on video, I want to actually be doing something and not just staring at it, making a jackass of myself.
Yep.
So
cool.
So yeah, I'm having a great time with my blog.
Mm-hmm. I see you posting pretty much daily.
Yeah, it's been daily, 5 days a week for almost 2 months now. So excited about that. So now I'm like in content generation mode, thinking like, what can I write about?
Yeah.
And so videos of accessory work and stuff like that will give me something to, instead of just typing out, here's how to do it, or sending them to somebody else's YouTube video.
Yeah.
Actually showing people this is how you do something. So
I like the one post you set up, or you put up, it was like the starter equipment gear.
Oh yeah, my gym bag.
Yeah, that was helpful. I was like, oh, okay, that's what that is, or whatever.
That one was fun.
Yeah.
The tools blog posts, you can always tell.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody ran out of something to write about today.
Let me just put this on there.
So I'm going to write about 5 software tools that I find very effective for powerlifting.
For powerlifting?
None.
Excel.
Yeah.
And that's about it. Yeah.
I think I could come up with 5 tools I use for powerlifting. They're not specific for powerlifting, but it'd be, like, here's how I use Excel. I already wrote one, how I use Evernote. How I use MyFitnessPal to track my food. So
awesome.
There is an app coming out for powerlifters, specifically for us, finally. Coming out in September, I think it'll go into... It's in beta right now.
Okay.
But it's to track volume and PRs and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, cool.
All in one space, and it'll give you like charts and stuff so that you can see graphed over time. So
awesome.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah.
Because right now I just record it in Evernote and then put it into Excel.
Right.
But there's no real way to visually see,
Yeah.
Is this 5x5 better or worse than this 10x3 kind of, track work sets based on volume? Because you accumulate all that stuff and it gives you a total number of pounds lifted per day kind of thing, 10,000 pounds or 12,000 pounds, stuff like that.
Cool.
So, yeah. So we'll see how that, I'm going to test that out when it comes out.
Yeah. Is it free?
No, it won't be free.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll be an annual subscription or a monthly one.
Yeah.
They'll probably have a freemium version.
Okay.
I'm sure they will. Because that's the model for software.
Yeah.
Do a free version with limited features.
Yeah. But
maybe it'll give you like these 2 or these 3 charts in the free version, but if you want more access to your information, pay for it.
Yep.
So
that's the way that it goes.
Yep.
Yeah. I finished the David Spade autobiography.
Oh yeah.
It was pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah. And it made me rewatch Tommy Boy and Black Sheep,
which are on Netflix right now.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, David Spade, some of the stuff I didn't know, like one time he hired maids and they like stole $200 every time they came, and they stole up to like 10 grand.
Oh my gosh.
And cuz he would just get, once he got money,
didn't know how much he had.
Yeah, he would just get a bag full of money because he said, I don't want to go to ATMs because I'd get murdered.
Mm-hmm.
And one time
he'd just leave it around his apartment and never count it.
Yeah, that was weird.
To be rich and young.
Yeah. And just not care.
Not notice that $200 is missing.
Yeah, it doesn't even make a dent in your thing. I'd freak out if I lost $200 in cash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Farley talked about that. Well, he didn't talk about it, but they talked about that in relation to him. The struggle of being famous, not knowing who your true friends were, kind of thing like that. Because he would just, once he started getting money after Tommy Boy came out and stuff, people would just start hanging around with him and laughing at his jokes and stuff.
Right.
But it was,
all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden women started finding him really attractive and everything like that. And he always struggled with, do they like me?
Uh-huh.
And so that's why he kept a small group of friends that were basically his friends before he was ever famous.
Yeah.
Like David Spade and
Chris Rock.
Tim Meadows.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other guys like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, David Spade, he said Chris, the Matt Foley and all that stuff was just his... his act.
Yeah.
But he was smarter, and he was smarter than that, and he knew what was going on. And but at the same time, he was kind of like innocent too. He would just go along with things and just not get upset.
Yeah. I'll have to read that bio.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Chris Farley one was great. He he just wanted to make people laugh all the time, and it wasn't if it meant falling down on a collapsible table and making an idiot of himself, then he did that.
Right.
So David Spade in the Chris Farley book said it was the Chippendales dance skit that made Chris Farley famous that was also like his downfall. Like, permanently cemented, this is what people want from you.
Yeah.
Fatty falls down is what they used to call it.
Right. So. Yeah. David Spade said it's hard because he started to see Adam Sandler get his skits, on air, and Chris Farley was always in all the skits, and
David Spade wasn't.
No, he was just a writer. You don't get as much money on SNL each week if you're just a writer, but if you perform, then you get $1,500 compared to just $900 a week. And he just was like, man, this is terrible.
Yeah, it was a couple of those guys that were really eclipsed by Adam Sandler and Chris Farley at the time.
Yeah.
Because it was like Rob Schneider, David Spade, Tim Meadows got to SNL only 6 months after Chris. And they both came from Second City in Chicago.
Yeah.
Together, so he actually knew Tim Meadows long before he knew those other guys.
That seems to be
and then there were the old people, the old cast that
Dan
were still
Aykroyd,
around, that weren't getting as much airtime, and the young cast that, kids these days didn't act the way that they wanted them to and stuff, and thought different things were funny.
Right.
So.
I guess that's how it always is, But David Spade said he was talking to Dan Aykroyd about John Belushi when he passed away. And he gave him some advice on how to handle Chris's, passing, But David Spade didn't even go to Chris's funeral.
Yeah.
Because he was so distraught.
Yeah, I remember that.
But, yeah, it's...
And everybody thought David's mad at Chris
right,
or something.
Yeah, like or it was some drama or something.
Because they both liked the same girl they talked about in the book.
Yeah.
David liked her. But then wasn't doing anything about it, and then Chris ended up liking her, and so
I forgot what it was. It was like Chris broke up with somebody. Or no. Chris's girlfriend went to date somebody else, and then they all told Chris, and Chris was like, "Well, he is not better looking than me. He is not richer than me, and he is not more famous than me." And then like Adam and David were like, "Well, sorry to tell you this, Chris, but it's actually Steve Martin."
Oh.
So,
ouch.
It's like, whoops.
Yes, on all three.
Yeah.
Ouch.
And I don't know how I would handle all that that competition and money and I don't know. It takes a special kind of person to deal with that stuff. I don't.
Yeah.
So anyway. Let's get into our main topic today.
Okay.
Should we still be buying houses today to create wealth? I never thought of not doing this. Like,
it's a little late.
Yeah.
We both own houses.
I know. It's just what we do in America, Because I don't know if this is how it was when you were renting or when you first got married, but everyone around me was like, "Oh, buy a house, buy a house, buy a house. You don't want to throw your money away. Start getting equity now."
I mean, it happened even before we got married. I've been told my entire life to own a house. So that is that's what being an American is all about. That is the American dream, is own a piece of property, have your own house. So you shared a video with me.
Yeah.
This guy, Grant Cardone, says that it's what does he say?
He says it's a scam and buying houses are for suckers.
Are for suckers. Yeah. Yep. He says buying a house is our parents' dream. And he goes on to say, well, the primary reason that he gives is mobility.
Yeah.
So even without the financial piece, the saving up or, there's a lot of things that go into it that we can talk about. But the main thing for him is the ability to move away. And, if you buy a house for 30 or 40, 30 years to pay it off, are you going to want to live there 30 or 40 years from now? So.
And think about the people who've bought houses before the bubble, and they're now, I guess, they want to sell them, but they couldn't, and now they're just kind of stuck, and the market is kind of getting better now, but they're still waiting, so they don't want to live in that house, so they buy another house. And
I think in this area, unless you're actually planning on staying in this area, buying a house is a bad idea. And that's the problem, is the military encourages people to buy houses. Because nobody wants to live on base.
You can get a VA loan.
And base housing around here is pretty minimal.
Right.
For most of the bases. And so, I ran into military guys who'd been stationed 3 or 4 other places, and they owned a house at each duty station that they were at.
Yeah.
And you're encouraged to do that. Buy a house, and then when you leave, you can rent it out and stuff.
That's going to be a pain in the butt.
But if you're coming to the D.C. area and you're in the military, you're not going to be here for forever.
No.
And my thing on buying a house is, I guess my main one is, are you planning on living there for 10 plus years?
Right.
If you're not, then rent, because you're not going to save any money by buying a house for less than your mortgage, basically.
Right.
So I came up with one main benefit for buying a house And it's not that a house appreciates in value and that you'll be able to sell it for more than you paid for it someday. The main benefit of buying a house is that you pay rent for 15 or 30 years, and then you live rent-free for the rest of your life.
Right.
And that's
a really good benefit.
It's a good benefit, but you have to buy a house and pay it off.
Right.
So if you're going to buy a house and live there for 7 years, then buy another house and live there for 7 years, then buy another house and live there for 3 years, then buy another house and live there for 20 years, but never actually pay off your mortgage, then you never actually accomplish this living rent-free thing. Yeah. You'll be 50 or 60 or 70 years old still with a mortgage payment.
Right.
And then basically you've just paid really expensive rent your entire life.
And just the hassle of all the paperwork and all
with
that.
no landlord that you can make do everything. So.
Yeah. But I mean, I just never thought of not buying a house. And especially in today's economy, how just people switch jobs like every year or 2 years, you know? You know, that's just... Nobody works at like factories anymore where you're going to just stay there for 30 years. So you're going to buy a house.
So the other advantage that's always sold on it is that you're investing into property. You know, you're owning an asset, or if you're paying rent, you're giving money to somebody else. But if you buy a house, it's forced savings is what they call it. So, and the problem with that I've already described is nobody ever pays it off for one.
Or they just refinance. Yeah, they refinance. They just keep turning it back
if you can.
Right.
And so the problem with that is looking at your house as property. And I think Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, was the first one to break me of this one. Your primary residence is never an investment. Your primary residence is only a roof over your head. A second house, rental properties, all that kind of stuff, that's an investment because it'll actually create income for you someday.
Yeah.
Your primary house is only a place for you to live.
Right.
And the problem with putting all of your money into a house and calling it a forced savings account is there's no way to get that money out of there.
No, I can't.
In the future.
Yeah.
So if I sell this property, I sell this house, and I get out what I've put into it, I still have to go and buy another house somewhere else to live in or pay rent somewhere else.
Right.
And so it's not like I can... By the time my house is paid off, our house was $250 when we bought it. By the time it's paid off, we're going to put $450 plus into it if we stretched it out over the full 30 years.
Yeah.
By paying it off... How many years is it going to take us to pay it off? It's going to take us another 8 years if we do this accelerated plan. By paying it off in 15 instead of 30, it's going to save us about $100,000. So it's only going to cost us $370,000 or so for a $250,000 house. But I don't ever get that $450,000 back.
No matter how many upgrades you do to it, you're not going to get that. You're not going to sell it for that.
No, I'm definitely not going to sell it for what I would have put into it.
Yeah. I was just looking at the math for mine because mine was $220. We put 10% down on a 15-year at 2.5, and we'll pay. It was $220, and we'll pay $252,000. So interest is $42,000. So that's not as bad as a 30-year.
That's a really low interest rate.
Yeah, that's what I got.
So, but even then, the $450,000, if I sold my house for what it would be worth today, probably $270. So the majority of that still goes to pay off the mortgage. So I don't get that. Yeah. And then we have to put the rest of it down on another house. And I'm back into a 30-year or 15-year loan. Yeah. So,
you know, it's funny because, like, today, like, houses are so big, but the average family size is smaller than what it used to be. Because back in the day, houses were so small, but families were like 10, 12 people, you know? It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. And that's the other side that doesn't go in. Your mortgage broker doesn't care about that. Your loan specialist, when they're telling you you're throwing your money away and renting, is all the other stuff that comes with owning a house.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I had to, rent might have been $1,450 versus, mortgage, which is $1,100 or something like that. But that $350 extra a month saves me a lot.
Yes.
My landlord's responsible for everything that breaks in the house. My landlord is responsible for, fixing fights with neighbors. My landlord at the apartments that we were living at, our landlord mowed our lawn for us.
Oh, wow.
So that alone,
yeah.
if you get a maintenance contract, could save you a couple $100 a month.
It's all the little things like,
and like you were saying, with a big house, the electricity that it takes to heat that big house and cool off that big house. And
people like those big ceilings too, like 12-foot ceilings. I'm like, they didn't, back in the day, they finally understood, hey, if we make 8-foot ceilings, we don't have to spend as much air and heating.
And that's just the single floor. I mean, all the houses in like Agricopia and stuff have the vaulted ceilings where it's like 25 feet up there.
Yeah.
Because it, looks over on 2 rooms.
Yeah.
So, and if in the winter, all that space up there has to heat up before it starts to heat up down below. So,
but yeah, so are we? What are we telling people? Are we telling people, what you just said? If you're not going to stay in a house more than 10 years, don't buy a house.
Don't buy a house. Yeah. And I think that's the good part of his videos, the mobility thing. People, if you are still restless, don't buy a house yet. Rent.
Yeah.
If you still don't like the place that you live, don't buy a house there. Rent until you find a place that you like.
Yeah.
So many people that I talk to would move away if their house wasn't keeping them here and their family wasn't keeping them here. I don't care. I like the place that I live, and we bought a house, and I'm fine to stay there.
Me too.
For 65 plus years. Hopefully the neighborhood doesn't fall apart around me and I get shot in my own backyard, front yard someday.
Because that's how you feel sometimes.
No, okay. I don't feel that way. But I think of like Sarah's parents grew up in Clinton.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to buy a house in Clinton nowadays.
I wouldn't either.
And if I found out that her 70 or 80-year-old grandparents still lived in Clinton, that would be kind of scary.
Yeah.
So there's that goes into it. You don't know how a neighborhood or how an entire region is going to change. So buying a house in Grand Rapids or Detroit was probably a good idea at one point and made money and stuff like that. And it appreciated. Yeah. My friend grew up in Detroit, and he was telling me that you can buy houses in Detroit right now for $1,500.
$1,500?
Yeah, $1,500.
Gosh.
And that there's entire city blocks that are just empty and have nothing going on there.
Right.
So those houses don't appreciate. You don't know what houses will appreciate.
Yeah.
California appreciated for a long time, but now that's, they're depreciating because nobody wants to buy houses there.
Yeah.
So
I think
you don't know what your state capital is going to do to make people want to move there or move away from there.
Yeah.
So
I think Indian Head was a good area at one point, but now, I think once the base started it's not shut down, is it?
No.
I think once it shut certain things down, it's a ghost town.
It doesn't draw many people to that base except support services.
No. So. That's what I think about Patuxent River base.
Yeah.
Like, if that base ever shut down, all that area probably wouldn't be as thriving as it is right now.
Yeah. Most bases, in my limited experience in the military, though, most bases tend to create slums right off base. So the first quarter mile out of the gate is going to be all liquor stores, tattoo parlors, car dealerships, other unmentionable places.
Have you been to Pax River base?
Yeah, I've driven through Lexington Park.
Because that's how it is.
Yeah.
Immediately
right outside the gate. It's just like that. Then you drive a couple blocks up the road and it's all fine.
Because Great Mills Road is it's just run down. So I don't know, why is that? Just
because Marines don't like to travel far to get their liquor
and prostitutes.
So they just want to go right off base and get them, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why it is.
Yeah. It sounds like a Malcolm Gladwell research project.
Yeah. So
yeah.
There was one other thing I was going to say, but I forgot.
He said rent where I live and own where I can rent.
Mm-hmm.
Rent where I live.
Yeah, so he wants to rent houses because he can move away at any time. It doesn't make sense to me, his saying, though, rent where I live and own where I can rent. Because wouldn't you run into the same properties with buying rental properties that you would with buying primary residencies?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want mobility and you want the ability to leave somewhere when it, doesn't suit your needs anymore, why would you then buy rental properties there?
I guess.
I mean, if I had a rental property in Clinton, I would be just as not happy as if I had a personal residence there.
But I guess
I'd have to attract quality tenants to come and live there.
Yeah, that I was about to say. Yeah. So
that one didn't make as much sense to me.
But if he's making money, does it matter? But then you said the quality
Slumlord.
part.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Section 8 housing. No.
I mean, it does matter because bad tenants and a bad neighborhood will still drop down the value. It won't drop down the cash from that property, although it could, because you could have been charging $1,700 a month for that place at one point, and now you're charging $800 because the entire neighborhood went down.
Right.
And you didn't take care of it. You're just like, oh, just send me a check and
let the
I don't really care what it looks like.
Yeah.
But then those houses, you can't resell them. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I was going to say, treat your house like you would investing in the stock market short term. So, pick a number in your head that says when our house reaches this point, we'll sell it and we'll move. And then when it hits that point, don't wait any longer and say, oh, wow, it's on the way up. Let's wait until it goes up higher.
Yeah.
At that point, if you buy a house for $250, planning on it appreciating and you moving out when it reaches $350, sell it and move out when it reaches $350. When it hits $350, don't stick around and say, "Oh man, I think it's headed for $4."
Yeah,
because that's exactly what people were doing.
Right,
or the worst thing is they were refinancing at $350, so now they owed that extra $100,000 on it, and now they can't sell that house for $225.
Right.
And so they waited too long. So kind of the way I approach playing in the stock market, this is playing. This is not long-term investing.
Yeah.
But if you're going to buy a stock to hold it for appreciation, pick a number in your head and say when the stock reaches this amount, $5 per share increase or something like that, sell it. And don't wait and say, oh, I think it could go to $6.
Yeah.
So that idea of let's buy a starter home and let it appreciate for a couple years, and then we can take that and roll it into a down payment on our dream home. That's fine, but pick that number in your head and say when the house is worth this much, we're moving, period. Right. So, but people get greedy.
Yeah,
and
they
say,
just keep waiting.
You know, 350 is good, 400 will be even better.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, it drops. So,
and then they waited for no reason.
So that's my thought on it. And then the thing with real estate, renting it, I think we've talked about this before on the show. I'm over the idea of having rental properties.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I can make a similar return from the stock market from, investing in, a well-diversified portfolio, not even playing in the stock market, but just get 10 or 12% return. From that, if you like real estate, if you like the idea of real estate, you can even invest in real estate investment trusts that own whole groups of real estate for you and collect the income on those things and pass it to you. If you want to own a second home for a vacation home, just do that.
Yeah.
Don't say, oh, I'm going to buy a third and a fourth home and I'm going to have, because now you're a landlord. Now it's your job to go mow other people's lawns on the weekend.
That's when I hire a management company.
Yeah. And there goes all your profit.
Yeah.
So what are you actually getting back from that? If you have a management profit, I mean, I'm sure there's a profit model in there,
right?
But it's not going to be significant compared to the money you're investing.
Yeah.
It's 4 or 5% return. Start a business, you can make more than 4 or 5% back on your money. Good grief. Buy bonds from the U.S. I'm sure they're going to pay you almost 4 or 5%.
Yeah, there's
they'll print money to pay you for them. Pay you back on them.
There's in North Carolina when we went to the beach. There's management companies of the beach houses. Man, they must be raking in the money. because it's like $4,000 a week, you know, and how much are those rental companies bringing in?
Yeah.
You know, but I know that's just for the summertime.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. They have to be making a profit if they're staying around this long. Maybe. Oh, here we go. Hit it. Disagree.
On beach property?
Yeah.
So, what's it doing for the rest of the year? So that's one of my questions.
Yeah.
How many tenants are trashing the place versus how many are good?
Mm-hmm.
What is the risk of damage from storms and things like that?
Yeah, I know the insurance on them is very high.
And then what is the guarantee that Outer Banks is going to be the place to go to 15 or 20 years from now?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not every beachfront property people want to go visit anymore, Ocean City.
Yeah.
And so you have to weigh all that stuff into account when you buy there. And those things are just completely mortgaged above what they're worth.
Yeah,
I guarantee it.
Yeah.
You don't just walk out and buy $1.5 million beach house in cash
Nope.
and start collecting cash for it.
Right.
So, you know, you're paying $4,000 a week or whatever it might be, but their mortgage payment is probably like $6 or $7 a month.
Right.
So. And there's also the problem of keeping it stocked, keeping it full. So, yeah, lots of people go to the beach, but not every house stays fully occupied every single week of the summer.
Right.
So,
yeah. Wish there was an easy way to be
downer.
Rich.
There is. Start your own business.
You sure about that? No.
I think we'll talk about that in the next episode.
Yeah.
Redefining rich.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
Okay.
So you're going to sell your house and go rent again?
No, I would never leave you. I'm not leaving.
So that's the other side, that the non-financial part of the decision is making your wife happy. By having a place that they can change.
Call home.
And
they got to nest.
Whatever.
Yeah, they have to nest.
And I like having my own backyard.
I do too.
I still have to ask the town if I can do stuff in it. And
that's ridiculous. You can always move to St. Mary's.
Yeah. So, where I could have a goat. So
I did want to get a couple goats because I got some poison ivy out in the backyard. They would tear that up.
That's my one thing that I try to get Sarah to let us move out of town with, is we could get goats if we moved out of town. It doesn't work, though.
Oh.
So it's too nice to have a target in your backyard.
She's, she's really good at the decorating. Last time I was over there, so that's her nest.
Yeah, she loves that stuff.
Yeah. And, you know, I just realized this the other day, like, women just love, you know, they play with dolls when they're little, but then they try to, now that they have husbands, they have a real life doll, because they're like, are you wearing that? You're not wearing that, are you? You know, it's like they just want to dress you, you know. You're going to play with this guy today. You're going to play with this. We're going to hang out with these people.
Wise husbands listen to their wives when they try to dress them. I'm just saying.
Does your wife buy you clothes?
When I let her.
Oh, when you let her.
And whenever I look nice, it's clothes that my wife bought me.
Oh, okay.
The stuff that I wear right now, you know.
It's for mobility.
Shorts, flip-flops, and a graphic t-shirt.
Yeah.
My wife didn't buy me this stuff.
You know, it's funny. I
dress for comfort.
Yeah, me too.
Not to impress anybody.
I had an old coworker. She wanted me to I had to meet some investigator for a background or whatever, and I just came in like this, like athletic shorts. I had a tank top and flip flops, and he's like,
classy.
He was like, oh, I see you. You know, you're enjoying your job. You know, I was like, yeah, I am.
Nice.
Yep. So anyway,
cool.
We can get into our nerd talk.
All right.
The Netflix, one of the best Netflix seasons or series, I should say, that I've seen in a long time, or series in general.
Yeah.
Stranger Things.
All right, so we're gonna preface this by saying spoilers.
Spoilers. Okay, if you don't like it,
If you have not seen Stranger Things yet, end the episode here. Go watch it for 8 hours.
Yeah.
And come back and listen to the rest of this.
Yeah, because I finished it in a day and a half.
Yeah.
I was just hooked.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. So it reminded me of a cross between Goonies and E.T.
Okay.
Goonies, because it's just these youth, these kids riding bikes.
Yeah.
There's the music that sounds, you know,
spacey.
80s, spacey, and they're hiding Eleven, the E.T. character. I did air quotes.
Yeah.
So that's what it made me feel like I was watching.
Yeah, I said it's a cross. It's like if Stephen King would have directed Freaks and Geeks in my mind. So have you seen Freaks and Geeks?
I've watched like maybe 16 episodes.
Okay, well there's only 18. So.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I haven't watched that many. Maybe like half.
Half of a season.
Because it was like 2 seasons?
It was a season. It only lasted 1 season.
Oh, wow.
So Freaks and Geeks was on in like 98 or 99 for 1 season. Judd Apatow produced it. It's starring a ton of people.
Yeah, James Franco.
Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
Jason Segel.
The guy from...
Linda Cardellini, Martin Starr. A lot of great actors on that one. But it was made in the late 90s, but in my mind, that's like the iconic 80s throwback episode. Like, this is what the 80s would have felt like.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Stranger Things feels like. It feels like that it was actually made in the 80s.
Yeah. Speaking of the 80s, I have been watching The Goldbergs. Have you watched that at all? Okay. That show was fine and good, but then I got to halfway through season 3, and it's just... The 80s is just too much in my face. Like, they're trying too hard. But with Stranger Things, it's kind of just in the background. Like, one of the girls or guys opened up his locker, and there was, like, a trapper keeper in there. You know, it's not so prevalent. It's just there.
Yeah, there's a difference between it being the atmosphere of the show, like it's everywhere you look.
Yeah.
And then pulling it out and saying, look, I have my trapper keeper here.
Yeah.
Like, anybody would have cared. And I can see shows overdo that all the time. It's like, oh, we're going to go do 80s stuff, and we're going to talk about it while we're doing it. And it's like, nobody did that. When we were living in the 90s, we didn't, like, talk about how 90s we were all the time. That was just life.
We're just living it, yeah.
Yeah. So.
I was strangely surprised that the kid actors were phenomenal.
Yeah.
They had very good chemistry.
They really were.
I thought...
there were 5 kid actors in the movie. 4 boys, 1 girl, and one of the boys is the one that disappears in the first episode.
Dead, yeah.
So, a little... I guess we already said spoilers, but I was going to say a little background on the movie. It's 4 friends, and one of them disappears in the first episode. And so it's the whole 8 episodes are trying to find him.
Yeah.
And what happened to him, and this girl shows up all of a sudden, you know, the day after he disappears almost.
And then, because there's their story, and then there's the sheriff's story, where he's trying to figure out what this research company is up to, you know, because at one point he does find Will's body, but then he goes in to the hospital or I guess their lab, and he cuts it open, and it's just like stuffing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is not...
Which was a really convincing stuffed kid.
Yeah.
I mean, that even the mom believed it was him.
Yeah.
That's a really good job making a mold of a body. So, well, especially since they didn't actually know what the kid looked like. That's weird. I'm thinking about that.
Who,
the government agency that was covering it, or the agency that was covering it up. How would they have known what Will actually looked like? Will had disappeared. They couldn't even have found Will.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
Uh-oh. We found a hole in this amazing series. It's now going to... If we keep tugging on this,
I'm
the
not
whole
watching
thing's gonna
season
fall
2. No. Hopefully season 2 is not a continuation. I hope it's its own story. Because if it's a continuation, it's going to be really dumb.
How much of it do you want to be its own story? Do you want it to be like True Detective?
Yes.
A whole new location and
new people,
and nothing continues at all?
Nothing.
Really?
Maybe in the background, like you hear about a Will story, but not those characters.
I think they would have to do that with the kids. Because unless another one of the 4 kids disappears, why would you bring them into it? And one possibility is they could continue to explore what happened to Will while he was in. So they end up finding him at the end of the show, as you guys know, because you listened to us and have watched it now since then.
Yes.
But doesn't his nose start bleeding, or he's looking in the mirror and it flashes to the underside?
Underworld, yeah.
And so there's that. There were a couple questions I wanted answered in season 2, so I actually hope they continue it, because there are other things. And I liked Matthew Modine's character and the government or the research lab thing.
Yeah.
So if season 2 were to happen, I'd at least want it to take place in the same town with some of the same characters, not just like Flash, because I think it took place in Indiana or something. Not just like all of a sudden Flash to like South Carolina and say, this is what's going on here in the 80s. It's also strange.
Yeah.
Because then you could just get into like an X-Files thing where it's like a new creature every season.
Yeah.
So
I like the sheriff.
Yeah.
I think I Wikipedia'd him, but I forgot.
He hasn't been in anything.
He has been in Suicide Squad, I noticed that, but we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah. He was in that.
But yeah, he was very... He just kind of did what he wanted to do. He reminded me of The Rock in Walking Tall. He just kind of went and just did whatever he wanted.
Checked in every couple hours in the station.
Yeah.
He's the man in charge. He can do what he wants. But so that was one of the questions I had is what is the sheriff up to at the end? Because he makes a deal with the laboratory. They call him over, they want to talk to him and stuff, maybe buy his silence or something like that. But then in the last scene, you see him dropping food off in the middle of the woods for 11, apparently, because it was the food that she liked, Eggo waffles, I think it was. So what's going on? What's been happening for the past 3 months that have fast-forwarded at the end credits kind of thing?
See, I actually think... when 11 at the end, when she used her powers to defeat that monster in the
Demogorgon.
Yeah. I think she jolted something and it merged the real world and the underworld together, and that's why at the end Will flashes, kind of like saying, "Oh, they're both merged now." That's my theory, anyway.
I want to know why her name was 11. So
11th test subject, because...
so were there 10 before her?
Yeah.
She was kidnapped as an infant from the womb, basically, from birth, and her mom was told that she died. So had they done that 10 other times? Are there 10 other kids that we never saw that are the same age as her?
Now that you brought that up, I was thinking maybe what if one of the things was one of the test subjects, like number 9, was the sheriff's daughter.
Yeah.
But was she alive?
No.
I can't remember if
she died.
She died? Okay.
Yeah. And I think she died later in life, too.
Yeah.
Not as an infant.
But maybe that's
like
the cover
2 or 3 years prior or something, I think. Wasn't she a missing child that they couldn't recover?
Yeah.
Something like that.
I thought when they were pulling up Will's body, I thought it was going to be the sheriff's daughter for some reason.
Yeah. That quarry was crazy.
The quarry?
So when those bullies want to... what's the main kid? I can't remember his name now. But when they say, we're going to beat you up unless you jump off.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just thinking, he's just going to jump off. And, the water's probably like, 20 feet down or something like that. When he jumped off and 11 caught him in midair and brought him back up, they showed how far off he had jumped. And the quarry was like 150 feet up from the water.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh, why is there like no fence or something?
I know, you could just die.
That's like nuts.
Yeah.
That this is just out there and that kids are playing in that area.
Yeah.
So.
These bullies were kind of dumb, though.
Yeah.
Like, they had their knife. Like, I'm going to cut your throat. I'm like, get out of here, man.
Hey, that's real, man.
Yeah.
What else would a 10-year-old use to cut somebody's throat in the
gun.
80s?
We're in America.
Yeah, right. So I have a theory.
Okay.
I want to hear what you think of this.
Okay.
Was the Demogorgon tied to 11? Could 11 possibly be the good side in the real world and the Demogorgon be the evil side in the underside?
I could see that.
Because it seemed like... Well, for one, when she destroys the Demogorgon in the last episode, she disappears also. Why?
Because isn't there is some link between the real and the underworld.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like in the Matrix. If you die in the Matrix, you die in real life.
Yeah, but she's not born from the underside like the Demogorgon is. She's born in the real world.
Maybe
and when she uses her psychic powers, she her nose bleeds and stuff like that. But that she would just completely disappear at the same time that the Demogorgon disappears.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting, and it seemed like the Demogorgon didn't really start terrorizing this town until she started messing with the underside with all of the tests and everything that they were doing.
Yeah.
So when she was just like crushing Coke cans and stuff like that,
the Demogorgon wasn't coming in.
Yeah, I don't remember the people disappearing.
But in the beginning, Will disappeared from the Demogorgon.
Mm-hmm.
But there was no 11.
She was in the lab because she'd been living there since she was a baby.
Yeah, but it just didn't show what she was doing. Maybe she was doing some.
Yeah, in the flashback scenes, it seemed like they were testing her capabilities all up, since she was a kid. Mm-hmm. And they just started testing with this gate and everything like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm kind of thinking I think her powers opened the gate where it was. I think we're clearly led to think that because they've been messing with all this stuff and then all of a sudden this gate opens up. But I'm just kind of thinking if they're maybe more tied than that.
Mm. Chloe, we're recording. She's upstairs. She's not down here. I don't know. Probably outside or something. Sorry.
So that's my thought on it. That I'd like to see explored in season 2.
But didn't the Demogorgons only when they smelt blood? Because every time somebody bled, that's when it seemed like they came
into the real world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good thought.
I'm making stuff up.
Nah, it's fine. They just didn't explain everything, which I kind of liked. Because if they spoon feed you everything, I'm just like, come on.
But I want to see if there are 10 other kids. What kind of rifts they're opening up.
One of the loose ends that I thought they were going to tie together was bringing 11 to the woman. Like, if she came back or something. If 11
to her mom?
Yeah, to her mom. But nah,
she disappeared too quickly.
Yeah. And her mom was already kind of crazy. So.
Because her mom has believed that they kept her baby for the past 10 or 12 years or whatever it's been. And everybody else thinks that she's nuts. Can't deal with the grief of losing her kid. I thought that was really good job by Winona Ryder playing the mom of Will, the kid that disappeared. Because I started to think she's losing it too. But then you start to realize she's the sane one.
Yeah.
And she knows what's going on, and she sobers up a couple episodes in and stops being all ranty and everything, and you're like, whoa, she's onto something, with the lights and everything like that. And dealing, it's not just a grieving mother dealing with all this stuff. She's she got sharp really quickly towards the end of the show.
With the Christmas lights, the internet just has a field day with that.
Yeah.
Trump.
Yeah, they created a website where you can go and you can write any message you want to in the lights. So that's perfect.
Yeah, and
my friend Krista left a message for her husband on his wall that said happy anniversary in those lights.
Yeah.
And I left a comment and said, 8 years from now, nobody's going to have any idea what this means. Hopefully we do. Maybe Stranger Things will be around for...
Yeah.
But...
I was going to say something... No, it was... Some stuff, it's just like, every show has some kind of loophole or hole, but she just keeps getting all this stuff from her work. Like, I need these Christmas lights, I need this battery, I need this. And he's just like, okay, here's 2 weeks in advance.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she did say, I've never taken a sick day. I've worked here holidays and overtime and all this stuff for 12 years or whatever it was. So... I mean, when you're grieving the loss of your kid and you're going crazy and keep buying lamps and telephones and stuff like that,
Maybe that's what you need for your sanity.
In the 80s, they would have held on to her.
Yeah.
Nowadays, they would have been like, this is only a $7.25 an hour job. We're going to find somebody else.
Yeah. Soon to be $15 an hour. No.
I liked just the 80s aspect of this. How much freedom those kids had.
They're just riding bikes all over the neighborhood. In the woods, yeah.
Getting knives pulled on them by bullies. Yeah. And nobody even asks where the disappeared teenage girl was.
Yeah.
Until she's not around the next day. They're just like, oh, I figured she spent the night at your house. Yeah. It was like, okay.
I mean,
you didn't call over there? Didn't have to ask for permission?
I mean, you would think today they'd let kids do that because you have cell phones and you can like pinpoint everywhere where someone's been, but...
They had walkie-talkies to communicate with each other. We have more ability to communicate, and we're not.
And we're not as trustworthy anymore.
We don't let our kids go through the woods on their own. That's nuts.
They could die.
I know.
Get kidnapped.
They have to be dropped off and picked up by a bus in front of their own front door.
Yeah. You didn't have to take a bus, right?
I was homeschooled.
Okay.
I walked down the stairs.
No wonder you're self-employed. You never wanted to leave that comfort.
I don't like clothes.
I don't like clothes.
I've lived my entire life in pajama bottoms.
Yeah. So. Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Change out of my sweats
into my work sweats. It's 9 a.m. I get out of bed. I look at Facebook to see what everyone said. Yeah, so season 2 should be good.
Yeah, if they actually ever confirm it. So
yeah,
they haven't renewed it yet. I'm sure they're going to. Mm-hmm. It's been the runaway success of the summer. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody expected it.
No, and that's what makes it so good.
Yeah.
Because when you expect it, you set that bar so high.
Yeah.
It never meets your expectations.
I remember seeing a preview for this probably a month before it came out. But Netflix doesn't hype stuff up like a year out or anything like that. They've been doing it a little bit with Marvel. Just telling you their plan and this is what they're going to do with all these shows. But it just seems like there's another show, The Get Down, that Netflix has out right now. It's about the birth of rap and hip-hop in the 1977 Bronx or something like that. Huh. But it was like I saw a preview for it and then like that weekend it was on Netflix. And that's kind of what it felt like with Stranger Things as a preview, and then within a month, here, 8 episodes, go. And we're like, what is this? I love it. I'm going to tell everybody about it.
Yeah. I found out through Facebook because one of my friends, we kind of have the same, we like the same things, like movie-wise and television-wise. So he was like, Stranger Things was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
And I knew about it, and I had it on my queue, but I didn't prioritize it until I heard from both you and Brian, watch this.
Yeah.
And I even told you, I said, I'm in the middle of Prison Break right now.
Things.
I'm trying to finish up Prison Break.
Yeah, and I was like,
it's 8 episodes. Yeah. Take a break. And so I did. I didn't finish season 3 of Prison Break before I watched this. And then I went back.
So if this was a movie, it probably would have been terrible.
Yeah.
Because it would go too fast.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, we had that conversation a couple episodes ago. Even if it was a 3-hour movie, it would have been rushed. So
I can't get through 2-hour movies.
Yeah.
I know you love them.
I love
superheroes.
I liked the soundtrack of this show, though.
Yeah.
The original music, for one, which hopefully they're going to release soon. Well, they've already released it on iTunes, but you can't get it on Amazon or Google yet. And then the period music also, just all the soundtrack of the 80s songs and stuff.
Yeah, those are awesome.
Yeah. So, great soundtrack. Kind of like how Guardians of the Galaxy kind of did. Brought together a soundtrack of really fun songs.
Yeah.
And everybody loved it.
Yeah. So. It's like, this music's pumping me up.
But I was sold on this movie, or this show, in the first, minute. When it opens in a basement and 4 kids are playing Dungeons and Dragons.
It took me up to, episode 2.
Oh, yeah?
And then I was like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
But I just kept going through.
Yep. And you ask yourself, you're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Is it aliens?
Yeah.
Is it government?
Yeah.
Is it supernatural?
Yeah.
Is the kid kidnapped? What's been happening?
So. And I thought Will's brother and that one girl, the girl at the pool or whatever. I don't remember her name.
Oh yeah, the friend that disappeared, or the sister.
The sister.
Okay, the cute one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought at the end they were gonna hook up, but then I was like, oh, that would be too cliche.
Yeah.
So I was glad they didn't.
Yeah, they bought him a camera, or she bought him a camera for Christmas and kissed him on the cheek.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, something's happening there. But then she goes back inside and sits down next to her boyfriend. And he's like, did you give it to him?
Yeah.
So it's like they bought him that camera together. And I'm like, well, that you don't expect that. Like, they redeemed the bully character.
Yeah.
And they, the main guy and the main girl don't end up together.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Yeah.
But you like it.
Yep.
So
different. Okay.
Cool.
So where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram at CP_EH, CPA, and I blog at barrettyoung.com/seekingelite.
And I'm on Twitter at Charchangs, and I put the audio version of this on Hadokendet.com, and the audio version is on our YouTube channel. I put it in the show notes, and trying to get the video set up, but it's a work in progress.
Cool.
So, see you next time.